Good evening, Rabbi Yisai. I'll start. Shkoyach everyone for coming. I'm impressed how many people called up who are interested in helping their children. Bez Hashem. Tonight's tachlis will be, as you'll see, not to help children who struggle with Afka, just to help our kinder, everyone's children to succeed in Aleph Beis, in Kriah. And Be'ez Hashem, as you all know, Kriah is the tachlis, is the basics of a Yiddishkeit, especially for boys who daven, who learn and go to yeshiva. And Be'ez Hashem, it's just the beginning of a long journey. And Be'ez Hashem, that tzlucha will bring peiros further on in life for every child. So, Be'ez Hashem, today we'll go through 4 things, and I'll show you. We'll go together with the presentation. I just want to say, like at Chila, some people ask me, what's the tachlis of tonight? The tachlis is, be'emes, I'm talking a lot, what I'm going to say is common sense. I'm not going to say big chidushim, oster chidushim, but a lot of it is common sense. We're going to make common sense common practice, that's all. Be'ez Hashem, we're going to come out and know what to do, and not just know about it. So, tonight we'll learn 4 things, but we'll make into 4 topics. The first thing is the stages of Kriah. We'll talk about what's needed for Kriah, the pre-skills for Kriah, and all the levels of Kriah. The next thing will be the difficulties of reading. We'll talk about where your son or daughter can struggle, Talmidim for some of your teachers or rebbes. The next thing is how to learn at home with your son, although it's same as for daughter, I should have changed it. And the last thing for tonight is going to be what to do when the child has a problem. We'll also, Be'ez Hashem will come out with some tips and tricks how to help children and how to, Be'ez Hashem, get them back on track to be part of the kibbutz. So let's start with the first thing, the pre-reading skills. I'll go through Be'ez Hashem, we'll go one after another, very, very, very briefly. The first thing is healthy hearing. A child that doesn't hear, in Lashon HaKodesh, Nalocha, such a thing, in Hilchas Kashrus, Kebolei Kach Poltei. Whatever goes into the pot, the blias, that's what comes out. But the children is exactly the same. Children who can't hear, that's what they give out. Those who have water in the ears, or some difficulty with hearing, they hear Aleph, Be'erech, so that's what they're going to say. So we have to make sure that the kids hear everything that we talk, that we teach them, and so on. The next thing is good sight. Of course, that's a basic for reading, is that a child should be able to see. So many children are struggling, and I'm not talking about the young children, I'm talking even about 14, 15-year-old children that learn with struggle. They never had the eye test. Punk this week, I had a boy, I showed him a pen. I asked him, how many pens do you see? 2. I said, 2? Yeah, 2. I said, have you ever been by eye doctor? Why should I? It's normal. I always see 2. Right? That's a 15-year-old boy, a Jewish grandmother answered me this question this week. So, such a boy, whatever he reads, he sees double, he sees 2 letters, he can't be matzliach. So the first thing we have to make sure before you start looking for problems is the sight, okay? Can he see everything the way he has to see? The next thing is clear speech. We see many children who have speech problems, which can also affect the Aleph Beis. They can't say the lama, everything comes out kind of. And when it comes to reading, they don't know how to read it within a context. The next thing is very, very important. I'll explain it very short. Phonological awareness. That's a very big topic. Also in the Goisha and the ABC, it's the ability to hear phonics from details from a bigger word or text. For instance, let's take an example. I say, Baruch Hu Baruch Shemoi. For some children, Baruch Hu Baruch Shemoi is one word, Baruch Hu Baruch Shemoi. Or two names. Yisrael Aryeh. How many names has he got? Yisrael Aryeh. One name. Have you ever heard the word Rabba? Rabba? No, because I say B'chemla Rabba Munasecha. It's all one word. They can't hear that B'chemla Rabba and Munasecha are three different words. Now that goes a stage further. The kids can't, the same kids, if I tell them, okay, in Rabba, how many syllables has it got? Rabba. They've got no clue. Yehuda, how many syllables has it got? Yehuda. They've got no clue. For them, Yehuda is Yehuda. Has no way to break it down. And then when you go to ask what the sound is, the first sound of Yehuda, it doesn't have a sound. Yehuda is Yehuda. What does it start with a gimel? Train. Because Gimel and Train have no shaykhs, but he doesn't have anything that has a shaykhs, because there's no word that starts with the Gimel for these boys. And such a boy won't be able to be Matzliach in Aleph base, because they won't grasp the idea of sounds, of Nekudas, putting them together. So phonological awareness is something very, very, very important to be Matzliach in reading. Sai Kodesh, Sai Chol, it doesn't matter. Yeah, but if he reads, no, I'm talking here about the pre-skill. Before he reads, he won't be able to read if he doesn't know it. If he reads, it means he chapped it. Okay? Or he'll read very, very slowly because it takes him a long, long, long time to chap. Okay? The next thing is shape recognition. Of course, Aleph base and the Nekudas is all about shapes. Children who can't differentiate between shapes, circle, square, and all that, Aleph and the base has no meaning by them. The next thing is concentration. Many children we have everywhere, across all ages, the Aleph base members is okay, they just can't concentrate, they can't sit still, the ADHD, ADD, or stam, they don't have Sitzfleisch, and we can't just get them to sit and learn for 5 minutes and teach them Aleph base. That needs to be dealt with before we start with all our problems. He doesn't know the Aleph base, just make sure he can sit and we can teach him. The next thing is fast processing and word retrieval, same idea. We need the children to be able to say words, to be able to remember words, remember what they said, what they learned, and say quickly. Because if a sentence takes them 2 minutes to finish off the whole sentence, by the end they finish a sentence, they forgot the beginning. And they don't know what we're talking about. So that's why processing needs to be really fast so they can finish within a certain time frame every pasuk. The next thing is multitasking. That's more or less everyone, but in a class or everywhere, it's always busy. You've got one boy throwing aeroplanes, the other boy is opening and closing the door, the other boy is screaming. Everyone has his, and then you have to focus on the Aleph base. So every boy needs to be able to have a filter and know, okay, that I can't listen to, that I'm going to ignore, this I'm going to focus on. So again, it's not about Kriah, it's a pre-skill to Kriah. Left and right brain thinking is also very important. I'm not going to go into it now, but Kriah has 2 ways of the brain. We need the left side of the brain, the right side, and some boys can't cross the middle line. That can affect also Kriah. Short-term memory is more for later on to understand what is being learned, to understand psukim, to understand the text or a story. And the last thing of this list is knowledge of rules, of course. If you don't know the rules of Kriah, you're not going to be Matzliach in Kriah. So these are the pre-skills where when I take a child, or every parent takes a child, if one of those pre-skills are not there, I can't say forget it, but don't start with Aleph base. Fix that problem, and then we'll get back to the Aleph base. We had a boy here, we learned with him Aleph base, who we saw he doesn't know shapes. We sent him home a spot the difference game for 2 weeks. Nothing to do with Aleph base. Paddington, spot the difference. And he came back, he was a different boy. We made him his drawings, he was a different boy. Now he learns Baruch Hashem. Within a few lessons, we got him much further than he used to be, because we told him a lesson. You have to look at the shapes, at difference, at details, and so on. So, all these things are pre-skills. Now let's break down, let's go now to the actual reading. These are the pre-skills. Let's go down now to the actual reading. Let's say everything is okay, and Baruch Hashem, I can assure you most of the children, everything is okay. Children pick up the phonics, not every child is ADHD, and not every child doesn't know shapes. Baruch Hashem, they're all fine. So there are 4 main concepts that every Kriah Mehalech is using. Some make more fuss out of it, some less. Some schools make a big fuss of concept, some is more subconscious, they expect the children to chab by themselves. But a child who doesn't have this concept, he won't have the idea of reading. So the first concept is the most important concept, is the ability to convert a shape, or in our case a letter, into a sound. A child who sees the Aleph base, and it doesn't have any meaning, any sound, anything, just a letter, he won't have what he wants from his life. Let's say I give you a whole page of Braille. For the blind people, just dots. Now who can read it? I'll explain you. 1 dot is an A, 2 dots is a B, 3 dots C, every dot just count. We won't manage to read. Why? Because we don't connect to it. We don't understand what it means. We don't understand how to decode it. The same will be with musical notes. We see lines and whatever nice things. We've got no idea how to work it out. The minute it makes sense to us, and we see, oh, there's a song over here. There's information over here. Then we can start thinking, oh, let's see about what information we're going to get out. But before we know what information it gives us, it's a non-starter to try and tell him, this is a C, this is a B, this is an A. I don't know what A is, and music, a G minor, and a Jens, a D. I've got no idea. First teach what it means, and then. So, by us and Aleph base, children are taught Aleph base. What's the Aleph? Don't know. A line, a head, a leg, whatever it means. It has no meaning to a child. I'll give you now a proof how a child feels in the first week when you learn Aleph base. Who knows what this picture is? Everyone, you've got in your booklet, for those who took it, otherwise take one now. What's this picture? Everyone should look at it now. Is there anyone who doesn't know? Is there anyone who does know? Put your hands up. Anyone who does know? Cow. Okay. Who else? I've got 2 people on this side. 1 person on this side. Who know? 2. Okay. Mama Shemaina. Rabbi Yisai, think a bit more. Rabbi Yisai, don't be stupid. You all know it. Rabbi Yisai, no. Look again. Look again. Rabbi Yisai. Stupid. Did you not listen to school, Rabbi Yisai? Okay, I have to speak to you, Rabbi Yisai. You're not listening. I'll show you now how to look at it. Does everyone see what it is now? Okay, now look at it again. No booklets? Oh, here. Yeah, many more. Okay, yeah? Can anyone think of something different than a cow now? It's so obvious. What did I do? I just helped you understand this picture. I didn't expect, look at it. I helped you. Let's go to the next picture. You've got those in your booklet. And I will say again, it's a clear picture. It's not optical illusion. It's a clear picture. Please tell me what it is. No? Rabbi Yisai, no. I want to hear. Okay. You all see it's impossible to work it out. Okay, we've got here a dentist, someone. What else? Any suggestions? Okay, no, it's a certain bone, like it goes into another one, and it came out. Whatever. I don't know myself what it is. But the answer is, you have to be a doctor to understand it. You need the information behind it that it should make sense. It's a clear picture. I'm not fooling you. I'm not giving you any wrong information. You just don't know how to decode it, what to think about it. We see children coming home, we give them an Aleph. Fine, Aleph. Nonsense. Yeah, a picture, nice, Aleph, a line. They come home, a base. So the child says, it's another Aleph. Did you not listen in school? It's a b. What do you want from this poor child? He doesn't know what you want from him. He just learned the Aleph base. He's got no clue what to think about it. Gimel, and if it doesn't work, really doesn't work, we'll call a younger brother and say, Shlomi, come, help us, make a bit of pressure. That's not the way we teach it. Give them the time to understand what he needs to know. Okay, later on we'll go into more detail to what to do. But for now, let's look into what not to do. Let's not scream at the child. First, we have to make sure, concept 1, the child should understand, is there information behind it? The Aleph is not just a shape, it's a sound, the Aleph. He doesn't yet have to know the sound of a b, but he has to know it's a name. It won't be the same as others, because every letter has its own name, its own special place in this Aleph base, and you can't mix them up. And once he understands that, he'll make sense out of it. Before that, it's a non-starter. Okay, so let's split it again into 4. So the first one we just said, ability to convert the shem into a sound. Understand what the aleph makes, what the base makes. The second one, which is also as important, is further down the line, when they learn nekudas. Okay, let's say he understood the aleph base, he understood the concept. Now we taught him every letter has a b, ch, l. Suddenly it changes. Cho, cha, chi, che. Till now it was a ch, suddenly cho, cha, chi, che. You're mixing me up. Mixed messages. Till now it was A, now it's B. And wait, soon we're going to learn Shavot, it's going to be even worse. Loud nekuda, silent nekuda, we're driving him mad. And the boy has to understand, what is the shtick behind this? It's not just we're driving him mad, it's a concept, it's a rule. You take a letter, the ch, the same ch as you learned till now, when you put the commas underneath, it's not that the ch makes something in it, it's still a ch. Just with the o, it makes ch. With the a, it makes cha. If the child understands what it makes, why it makes the sound, he'll accept it. Otherwise, he has to remember, cha, cho, chi, it's impossible. So again, the same thing, let's see what not to do is, we get a child, comes home, he learned commas this week. Let's not talk that he doesn't remember it, it's the first week. Let's say he does know the commas. Fine, now comes the Pasach. He learns the Pasach, and he doesn't know the Pasach. No, Yankel, it's no, think again. Hey, Chatese, what's the pressure? He didn't even chap what's changing. When is it oh? When is it ah? Why is it oh? Give him the time to sink in this idea of changing nekudas, makes a change to the sound of the letter and so on. So that's the second very, very important rule, concept for a child. And I say again, every mahalach, if it's Kriya Ne'ima, if it's Teraspicha, if it's whatever you're going with, will have to go through these stages. Some make more of a fuss of the concept, some make more of a fuss of the regilas side. But a child that doesn't understand it won't understand and won't remember it. So it's either subconscious or more conscious about it, but everyone has to deal with these concepts. The next thing is understanding the purpose of reading. Why should I work? There's no reason. Why should the child work hard? If the child knows, Be'ez Hashem, in future, I'll know how to read Tehillim, Siddur, Mishnayos, there's something for him to work for. If reading has no end, no meaning, you don't connect it to his language. You don't say, you just read now Avraham. Wow, you can spell your name, you can read your name. You don't connect it, he's got no reason to look forward. He's got no reason to say, okay, I'm going to work hard for it. So that's very important. Children should know and should be connected to the language, and they should look forward. Wow, and I know Kuv, I'll be able to write my name, or so on. They should look forward for a certain aim. And the last one, this one is more for the further down the line when it comes to fluency. We all adults read not from decoding, we read from memorizing. When we start reading Lam Natzech Mizmor LeDavid, no one is reading it. We start Lam Natzech and the rest goes by itself. We have so many words in our word bank, we understand what we say that we can read fluent enough without making mistakes. This is that's more for the fluency. Children need to understand and be able to finish off sentences by themselves. Which means, he starts Vaidaber, he has to know it's Hashem al Moshe Lemer. I can ask everyone here, what comes Ashrei? Yeshav Yisecha. How do you know? Maybe it's Ashrei-ish. But you know, Ashrei Yisecha. Lam Natzeach, Mizmor LeDavid. Maybe it's Lam Natzeach Ben Ginois. Yeah, you know, but 90% is Lam Natzeach Mizmor LeDavid. You've got a certain, we have in our brain a certain bank of psukim, a whole sets of psukim which belong together, and we read with those. And again, if it's wrong, we'll correct it. If it's Lam Natzech Ben Ginois, we'll say Lam Natzech Ben Ginois, but we don't struggle. We know how to carry on and read fluent. So let's summarize very, very quickly. There's 3 important rules for reading, which is convert shapes into letters, do chibah oslo niked. If he knows those and understands why he's reading, that just gives him just a push, he'll be able to read. Slow, but he'll be able to read. For fluency, we need the other thing to be able to finish and know what comes next. Now, boys struggle many times, as I said before, with the beginning of these concepts, those 4 concepts. Don't worry. It takes time, but if you give him patience, and as we'll see soon, how to support him with the patience, Be'ez Hashem, you'll get there and nothing will miss. So don't get in panic, a boy comes home, or a girl, and whoever, a boy or girl comes home, and is struggling with a bass or with a gimel, don't worry about it. It's only in the beginning, it takes time, but he hears it so many times still down the line, he'll pick it up. First, let him pick up the concept. The same with the Nekudas, and the same as with any other rule which we're going to learn, Shavah and so on. First, give him the idea, and then once he picked it up, the rest will come afterwards, because they hear it so many times. Now, there's another very, very, very important point to point out in Kriah, that when it comes to Lashon HaKodesh, there's a Kriah al pi Mesorah. Kriah al pi Mesorah means Lashon HaKodesh we read for reading. When we read in the Torah, when we line in the Torah, you make one small mistake, you made a mistake. In a Goyish book, you can read the main thing, you understood the story, and that's it. In Yiddishkeit, it's the reading which is important. Now, therefore, we can't just give the boys, wait till they get older, to understand this, because the understanding is not the ideal, what we're looking for. We're looking for reading. And many boys who struggle with reading have concentration issues also, so it makes it much harder for us in Kodesh to help children when they have problems. But it's much more important, because in English you can say, okay, down the line he'll get older, he'll understand it, and things will go much easier, as I'll prove you just now. So, English and Lashon HaKodesh have a big difference. One is reading for reading, and the English is reading for understanding. Now, in English, you can do a shtick which you can't do in Lashon HaKodesh. Let's read this. Everyone should read this. You can have it in your booklets for those who want. Okay, I hope you all managed to read it. Yeah, I'll read it aloud. According to research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter in what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and the last letter should be at the right place. The rest can be a total mess, and you can still read it without problem. This is because the human mind flags the error, corrects automatically. Amazing? Okay, so we see, I can read it fluently, and I don't know the text off by heart, don't worry. It just proves English is a language. As long as you understand what you're reading, you're fine. Okay, well, let's go for another one, and you can try this one. You also have it. Yeah, Leilon Chaps. Okay, so again, I won't read the whole thing, but the first few lines, this measure serves to prove that how our mind do amazing things, impressive things. In the beginning was hard, but now you can lines on this line, your mind is reading it automatically without even thinking about it. Be proud, only certain people can do this. Please forward if you can't read this. Okay, we can read it fluent again. Why? And the same we do the whole time on number plates. People write the biggest rubbish on number plates with letters and this. We can all figure out what it means. And the answer is because in English, there's only one word which is kugel. Only one word which is Miriam. Only one word, all these things. There's no similar word to names and to meanings in English, right? And Cambridge is no similar to Cambridge, and then amazing, and all those words. Let's go to Lashon HaKodesh and let's try a guess. Look how it looks. Lashon HaKodesh is made out of shroshim. Every word has 20 similar words. Lechol, oichel, lehachel. And in English, it would be total different words. Eat, food, nourish, paint, color, think. And in Lashon HaKodesh, it's the tzvaya, tzeva, lachshev, lechashev, machashev. It's all the same thing. In Lashon HaKodesh, if we start guessing, we won't get anywhere. Every word, just one letter wrong, has a total different meaning. As you see, Sefer and Sapa, one is a book, one is a barber. If you read it wrong, you're going to get it totally wrong. In English, there's no similar word to barber. Book is a different word. If you get it wrong, you can't get anything. You just won't get a different word wrong. And since we all understand it, it makes it even easier. So that makes Lashon HaKodesh much harder it's harder to guess, and for us as Rebbes and parents, much more important to invest than in English. Because English, as Hashem, as they get older, they'll catch on to it. Just from understanding, and that's the ik in English. You give them a book. I had just a mother yesterday called me, so I asked her, your son is reading, he's a bookworm. He tells me every time I learn with his son, he's in a Chaim, he tells me stories and stories and stories. Now, so wait, I read books. So I asked the mother, how is he doing it? She says, if you ask him to read aloud, it's a disaster. His writing, a disaster. Don't ask. But he understands it. That's it. And that's English. As long as you understand it, you're okay. You're going to go through life. B'shulam. So that makes our chayes much, much more than in English. So now we've learned, just to summarize, there's 4 concepts in reading. There's many pre-skills which you have to make sure. There's 4 concepts. And every mahalach in school, every mahalach has to go through those concepts, and we as parents have to be aware of it, of these concepts. Now comes the big questions. What do we do? How can we see if a child struggles in these concepts? Okay? So, the first thing is, obviously, if he makes mistakes. Children who make mistakes, it shows straight away, either he doesn't know the letters, or he doesn't know the concept at all, but it shows straight away a red flag. We have to do something about it. The other thing is, when a child reads very slowly. Children read very slowly, they have to go through and think about it. It shows something is not clear. The clearer it will be, it will go quicker. So that needs to be addressed. The third thing is, and that's probably the most important, that's why I didn't read, reading takes a lot of effort. Now, there are boys, and especially older boys, they can read. But if you look at their forehead, it's Irish. Vani bechastechobota. It's Irish Gehanim to look at them, right? It shows something is going hard. Imagine we have to work hard, we have to run. Imagine we have to run. How long can we run? We can run for 2 minutes. We can run for max 3-4 minutes. For those who trained it, they can do, for them it's easy. They can run for 2 miles, for whatever, they can run all day long. We that can't, it takes us koiches, we stop after a certain time, we can't. Children who Kriah takes them koiches, they'll stop. They won't like it, they'll hate it. How long should I just struggle? How long should I work for it? So that is probably the most important, and most cases I do get, especially with the older boys, is reading takes a lot of effort. And some people think, he's okay, he knows the rules. It's not okay. If reading takes effort, it needs to be addressed. Now the first one, if he makes mistakes, some mistakes are very, very good. If a boy comes home, or a girl comes home, Aleph, Beis, Veis, Gimel, I don't know That's a very, very good mistake. It should all bench Big Sagoimel. Why? It shows that a child chapt, you can't guess. If you would just say Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Ches, just guessing, forget it. He doesn't understand the concept. He doesn't have any chashivas to Aleph. It could be a Beis, it could be a Ches. He doesn't care about anything. Then that shows that he doesn't chab. But the minute he shows you that I don't know, you should thank the boy. Oh, he understood it. That means he understood the idea of, you can't guess. I don't know what it is, but I can't guess. There's something important here, I can't guess. Now that's a good mistake. But if the mistake is just random, then it needs to be addressed. Now I just want to show you how it feels to read slow. I think you have in your booklet, and you can all start reading. Many ago, boys go through this page in feelings. Okay, as you saw, it's very, very hard to read, and especially very, very hard to understand. Now this can be either by a slow reader, therefore tell you the end, you forgot the beginning, right? And I'm telling you, it's not a joke, that's what boys go through every day. Okay, that's not a stamp made up, that's the speed of boys to read, and I'm not talking about babies, I'm talking about 14-year-old boys. That I can give them such a small paragraph to read of 2 lines, it can take them 1.5 minutes, something that we do in 5 seconds. Okay, so that's very, very important to know. And then the next thing is important to understand, why does stress need to be addressed? The answer is, every brain has a certain koyach, a certain power. We've got a certain limit how much we can think. Now, in the first one, you can see he's okay, he's a good boy, recognizing letters takes him a tiny bit of thinking. The next one, recognizing the vowels, also a tiny bit. Combining into words, also to understand the words, also it all takes him a little bit of effort. So he's got loads of room left to think what is being learned. He understands, he can follow, he can think, he can ask, he's with it. The next boy who struggles, recognizing, takes him a nice chunk of brain power. The next one, the next one, next one. How much is left in number 5? A tiny bit. And these are the boys, usually, I get many people complain, I don't understand Gemara. Many times, those who don't understand Gemara, it starts with Aleph Beis. Why? Because that's what's left. Of course you don't understand Gemara. If Kriah takes you half the effort, and not only that, if he's got double vision, let's say, and these things, so it takes him even more effort to think about and focus his eyes, that's another thing on his brain, then even less, and nothing sticks, nothing stays in his head of Gemara. It's just, he's so focused on just reading, nothing will stay in his head. And that's why, as I said before, the most important thing, if you see a boy who struggles, Kriah's effort, it needs to be addressed. The next one is, sometimes you have these boys, these are very, very, very clever, and they just recognize everything. It takes them time. It takes them a lot of koiches. The next one takes koiches. But they're so clever, they still have room. They still have brain power left to think, to understand the Gemara. I think it's not so clear. Make it a bit sharper. Better? Yeah? Okay, yeah? So such a boy will go under the radar for a long time because he comes home, he understands Chumash, he understands Gemara, he understands everything, until he goes to yeshiva, and then it comes out. Because then it takes too much information, and it's in one go, it's just so much remember, and then it all goes. Even the most intelligent boy, at a certain point, they all, and then they come, oh, I've got problems, and Gemara, and they look for the core of the problem, and it started long before. Okay, so that's important to understand how to flag out where there's a problem. The next thing is, how can we help children to get fluent or to get to their fluency Be'ezras Hashem? Now we're getting more to the practical parts Be'ezras Hashem of tonight, where we're going to see how can we make sure that our children enjoy it, they get what they need, and they Be'ezras Hashem, they'll be successful. So the first thing is, help your children, don't test them. That's the most important thing. We come home, some people, they're dreading, oh, today my father's going to learn with me, he'll catch me, he'll talk to my Rebbe, he's going to give me, I don't want to learn. I know many boys, when the father learns with them, it's Gehenna. Halavai, they want the father to go. I don't know where not to learn with me. Why? Because learning is a punishment. Learning comes out as, that's where he's going to catch me. And that shouldn't be the message. The message should be, I'm here to help you. Let's learn together. If you know it, very good. If you don't know it, we'll learn it together. As a chavrusa, as a more, not as a test. The next thing is, learning should be fun. It's important that the learning should be geschmack and not in a heavy way. What is this? Start with it. Make a matzav out of it. Make mistakes. You should find it. Make it in a matzav the child should see that is something that he looks forward to. I've got many boys who are ADHD and whatever, the mamish can't concentrate. The more fun you do with them, and I do with older boys, the more they're with it. But I'm saying, even those ADHD boys, they happy onto it. They enjoy it. I learned with a boy, he's taka, he can't concentrate. I learned with him about 3-4 weeks ago. And every letter he said, nicely, I made like a shock. He said, Tess, wow, that was nice. Ches, wow, and I made like a whole thing. Today I learned with him how to assess him. So he said, Rebbe, make another shock. Every letter make another shock. It stays in their head. I've long forgotten about it. But for them, like, wow, it's a matter. It's an Aleph Beis, it's a matter. It doesn't have to be serious. And again, these things I'm going to say now can be done on Chumash and Gemara, everything. It's just, as I said, common sense. But in my field, in Aleph Beis, especially with young children, it's much more common that we make something fun. We make it not a heavy limit. It should be a young child. He should get what he needs, not as a faher and thing. The next thing is, that's very, very important. Build your child, don't fix him. Remind him about this challenge before he struggles. And I think that's the most important rule. And I want to say a short story that happened here in school, in Cheder. We had a boy who struggled with reading. He was in Keta Dalet at the time, and not only struggled reading, he hated reading. The father came to me, Lubelsky, I don't know what to do. I learn with my son every day, And I'm telling you, my wife doesn't give up. Every evening alone with my son. And I don't know, he still doesn't get it. All frustrated. I know exactly his frustration. The first thing I told him, stop learning with your son. That's the biggest avla you can do. His learning was, let's get it. You have to. Okay? The son came out hating reading, hated learning, hated everything. The Masa, I started with that boy, and it was very, very difficult. The minute he started touching Aleph Beis, he would, I don't know reading, I hate reading. Nothing to talk. Get to the first few lessons, we just get him on board. It's not so bad. The kids, I tried with him whole summer's man. I didn't get anywhere. The parents were very, very, very worried about him. So they went to ask for a second opinion. And the second opinion was to learn every day and a longer thing. And I said, no, not with me. To learn every day again with such a boy who hates reading, he's not going to manage. We have to understand the feeling of these boys. They go through Gehenna every day. You ask me to read, I don't know how to read. So why are you asking me? What do you want? You ask me to drive a car and I don't know how to drive a car. You're just forcing me to something I can't. The kids, I told them, not with me. I'm not learning with that boy every day. I'm doing it in the middle of a new course because I did Tzvi Zobin's course at the time. And I started with him Elul last year. After 27 lessons, that boy was finished. Baruch Hashem. Now, why I'm telling you that is, the lessons were once a week, so it stretched over a long period. But the boy got what he needed. The boy wasn't just, let's read. It was focused on his pre-skills that were missing. It was focused on his concepts that were missing. And that's what the boy enjoyed. At the end of the year, last year, we had the yearly outing on Thursday. My lessons with him were every Thursday. So I told him, Moshe, next week we can't learn. Thursday's the outing. The Rabbi, please, I love reading with you. Can we read again on a different day? Can we? What? What did he just say? You're not reading. I called him never because he never said it until then. By mistake, he came out. But the idea was, if he catered what he needs, he looks forward for these lessons. Now he chases me the whole time. Rebbe, when are you taking me out? You promised me this. He enjoys it. His father told me he went to davening on Rosh Hashanah the first time. He davens loud because he got what he needed. So I always say again, I'm not here to promote nice ideas. I'm here to help children who struggle. And if you do it wrong, and if reading at home is a test, that's what comes out. Hating, reading, hating. Aleph Beis, hating. Learning and hating Torah, what comes out then? So therefore, a child who makes mistakes, and you take a child and say, okay, Moshe, let's start. Ashrei. Why Ashrei? It's Ashrei. You don't remember? Ashrei. Okay, Ashrei. Ho is. You don't remember Shi and Sian? Ish. Oh yeah. Moshe, I told you it's a Shian. Let's make a circle. So the whole lesson is a torture. Yeah, he'll hate it. So therefore, build the child and don't fix him. So what I do usually, and I tell all the parents who do learn at home, if a child makes a mistake, write it down. You know it's a Shian Stian issue. You know it's a Komatz Pasach issue. You know whatever letter on the Kudah or word it is, write it down. Let's take now Shian Stian issue. Tomorrow, before you start to learn with your son or daughter, remind him. Let's take a Shian, let's take a Sian. And go through it. That's a Shian, that's a Sian. We're not forherring. I'm teaching you. I'm your teacher. I'm not trying to catch you out. Build him before he comes to the problems. Now, let's say he starts. He was just about to read. You warn him. Moshe, the first word has a Shian Sian. Check out. Make sure that you're going to see it. You can highlight it for him. Make him aware something challenging is going to come. I know it's hard for you. I'll help you. I'm not here to catch you out. I'm here to help you. If you do that, he knows you're on board. You understand his feelings. You understand what he wants to get. And he'll enjoy it. If just every mistake is, not that, do different, circle around, make this, forget it. He won't enjoy it, and after 2 lessons he's gone. That's the most important thing parents should know. The next thing is compliment him on specific work and not just in general. It goes in the same style. Now let's say the child did manage Shi and Sian. Yeah? So let's go first as a mushal. We've got a boy, a teacher who says to his children, Kinderlich, tidy up the room. Everyone should tidy up the room. And there are 2 boys. One Moshe, one Yankee. and both tidy up. Moshe really works hard, and Yankee just takes a few cards, puts in the box. And the Rebbe says, well done, Kendelech, both get a sticker, go in your place. Why should Yankee tomorrow, why should Moshe, who worked hard, do tomorrow the same? Why should he work hard? He doesn't get any more compliment than Yankee. I work like Yankee, I get the same sticker, the same compliment, has no reason to work hard. If the teacher will say, wow, Moshe, I saw how you went under the car when you looked for that car, and I saw how you did it. It was Zoris, you were this, you were that. You give him a compliment, Moshe knows, wow, it's worth it. Everyone is watching, covered, attention, it's worth it. The same is in our case. We see a boy who struggles with Shi and Sian. Let's say, same as before. We corrected him, we didn't correct him, we taught him before the lesson. Now after the lesson, we can either say, well done, Moshe, or I can say, wow, I can see, you really worked hard on that Shi and Sian. You looked out for the dot. Wow, I like that one. Can you show me again the Shi? I really like this one. Where you looked at this side and not this side, or base vase, or Komatz Pasach. I can see you were thinking. And that made you know it. The more specific your compliment will be, he'll know, if I'll do that tomorrow, I get another compliment. If every day after the lesson just, well done, Hatzlacha, next boy, he won't have anything. What should I do tomorrow to get the same? I'll get every day the same well done. Fine, so I just won't work. I also get the well done. My parents know already, they can't scream at me. I anyway get a compliment for free. So, nothing to work for. But if the compliments get bigger as he does better, Be'ez Hashem, your child knows it's worth it to look forward to that struggle, and I'll get a compliment. Okay, now let's go to some. These are just a line. I want to go now a bit more into details, then go more into the tricks and how to fix problems. Now let's go tachlis. You take a child. What should we do? So a few practical ideas what we should do. Learn short sessions. The session should be 2-3 minutes, not till the child starts crying or asks, when are we finished? It's over. By the time he has to ask, he's already fed up. Make it short. The child should know it's only 2 minutes and you're done. Children will enjoy it and appreciate it. They know, okay, someone is here to help me. As we said before, we're here to help. The next thing is, children love to show off. And I can tell you, every child, especially in that age, loves to show off. If you start with a letter, he'll say, I know better, I know quicker, I know this. Children like competition, they like, and especially if you do a mistake, they're mamash b'simcha, they caught you with a mistake. So start, you don't have to say, no, Yankee, start. And he's like, I don't know. You start. If he doesn't know it, we all learned now, we're here to help. So teach him again. Don't complain, he doesn't know it, so show him. Zayin, Ches, and show him, take a finger and go with him. If he does know it, I promise you, within 20 seconds, he'll be here. 20 is much long. Within 2 seconds, he'll jump into you. So you're giving him a message, we're chavusa. You've got all to show. I'm just starting because I'm ready. You want to show? With pleasure. Someone told me once, he doesn't ask Pasha. He just goes through the Pasha by the Shabbos table, and as the children know, they start screaming into the thing. Right? So children, if they have information to give, they'll give it. So start, and they'll do the rest for you. Begin with what your son is good at. Again, it's taught on son, enjoys, is good at. Every child in every level, again, it's nothing to do with Kriah, in every level has something that he knows better and something that he doesn't know. In our Kriah field, let's say he knows the Komatz, but he doesn't know yet the Pasach. The minute you start something he's comfortable with, he'll try to show off more. He started the Komatz, it went so well, a good compliment, he'll try the Pasach, it's worth it. But if you start with the Pasach and you put him off the first second, he starts no, it's not it's that's it. You missed. The momentum of showing off is gone because it's already finished. Start with something a step behind. He just learned Ches, start with a Zayin. Something that he knows. He just learned Shavor, a new rule, start one behind. The Chazor should be just a small, just the beginning. Should be a confident. He should be in his comfort zone. Start saying it with a geschmack, and then you can start stretching him. But the beginning you don't stretch him straight away. The next thing is, as we saw before, don't correct him. Note them down, teach it the next time, point out. And I just wrote here at the bottom, if we know that we've taught him properly, let's say a base and a vase, we know that he knows it. he's just dreaming, or whatever, then we can say, Moshe, look again, you know it. Because there's certain times that we can't just ignore a mistake. But as long as we have a suffix, maybe Taka doesn't know it, teach it to him again. Be a teacher, don't be a tester. The next thing is, learning shall be a privilege. There should be no need for big treats. I want to say a story that I heard once. There was a husband and a wife that had a Tillim group. Maybe some of you know the story. It's a very, very, I heard a few times from people, that there was a husband and a wife who had a Tillim group. There was a certain Shabbos and there were no treats. By the husband, no boy came. Maybe one or two. By the wife, all the girls came, even without the treat. They wanted to find out what's the difference between husband and wife. Why by his Tillim group no one comes, by her everyone comes. So they made a survey, they went to the class. Everyone should write on a note, anonymous, why are you coming to this Tillim group? By the boys, everyone wrote, treat, outing, krembo, I like the nash, I like this, the matzav. Everyone had what to say. By the girls, by the boys, there were a few boys who wrote about the mitzvah and the choyle. But the main message that came across was the fun part of that. By the girls, it was just the opposite. Tillim, I had a cousin who wasn't well and he got well, and it's so special, and this, and all heilige things. A few girls wrote about the fun and the nash, but that wasn't the main message. It was very interesting to see that boys get a different message than girls. So what they want to find out, where does that start? So they went to the husband and wife and want to see how do they talk to the children. And that was the answer. The husband, when he called the children, he called like this: who wants to have a nash? Who wants to have a nash? Me. Say 10 kapitel Tillim, otherwise no nash. So Tillim is a payment. You just work towards the nash. The wife, when she called children, who wants to say Tillim? We managed last week 10 more cholim, so many, we took off the list, all in Yitzchos. At the end of the lesson of the Tillim, she gave a bit of nash, but that wasn't her message. And the kids, even without having the nash, they still came, because Tillim stayed the same. But by the husband, the minute there's no nash, why should they come? I just work towards the nash. Now, if we work only for nash, I can tell you now, it starts with small things, but as time goes on, the learning gets harder. The child will ask for wage rise, and Bez Hashem, the nash will get bigger and bigger. I learn more, you need to give him more. And if it's all about the nash, you lost him. If learning is about the outcome, the child sees it's atzlocha, the child sees why he's learning, because you can read now, the child, you can show him something that he'd never manage, or something that he would never dream. Look, you read now Moshe. Look, you can show him something he would never dream he just did now. That would pull him towards learning. I can tell you from my own experience, I used to give out a lot of nash. I learned this, and I use it myself, and I learn with all ages. My success of having boys to learn with me, and I learn 40 minutes solid. And I say solid, it means no talking, we learn 40 minutes, and boys really work hard. But they still come to do it, because I show them success. The more success you show, I show them, look, I show them, let's say, a paragraph. They used to do it in 1.5 minutes, and now they do it in 30 seconds. I tell them, okay, now let's take this paragraph, try to read it again in 1.5 minutes. No, try. And they start laughing at themselves. I can't. It just goes 35 minutes. He himself starts believing, wow, I never dreamt I can do it. Some boys, I go even further. I have a video recording, and I show them back. Have a good laugh at yourself. Have a good laugh. Look at this boy. Is that you? Is that you? You can't imagine the simcha that comes out. Wow, that was me. I don't know how I managed. 30 seconds for a stupid line. And that gives them a simcha. The more you can show them the success, you don't need a sweet, you don't need nothing. Boys I give everybody a sweet, but sometimes they just forget to ask for it. Because it's not the tachlis. They come out with a fact at the end. Look at this, you managed before that, and now you're there. You're a different boy. And that's what children are looking out for, hatzlocha. The more we can give them this, the treats will be, you give them something, but it won't be the main thing. And then the thing, just again, a practical thing, learn a specific time, a specific place. Children who play outside and you call them in, sorry, I want to learn with you. I'm just playing with their friends. It's not going to work. If a girl or a boy knows, it's obviously on him, there's no playing at that time, or every Motzei Shabbos I'm going to learn with you. The more you have a kvias with the child, they know, they plan ahead, and they'll be happy to do it. This page you've got in your booklet again. I think that's the most practical thing we should take home. All the things on here, short, be a helper, don't test them, Begin what he enjoys. Don't correct them. Help them towards it. The next lesson. Learn should be a privilege, not treats should be the privilege, and learn a specific place. And let's go to the next level, and now we're getting to something I never did it before. I'm risking it, but parents have asked me to do it, so I'm doing it. I'm going to give you now how to deal with common problems. Now, as a mumcha, many things are coming naturally. And I think every teacher that teaches boys or girls knows you get a certain language to talk to kids. You know how to correct mistakes. You know how to get around them. Parents don't always have it. Parents expect their child to be like everyone else. We try to compare like everyone else. And why is my Moshe not the same as this kitta? And we have to know, if you work on that way with pressure, you're not going to get anywhere. So I'm going to give you now some ideas, but one tnai. Expect what's good for your son. Don't compare. Or for your daughter, whatever's negaya. Don't compare. If we start to come with pressure and with feelings like we have to get there, all those tricks that I'm going to give you now is not going to be worth anything. So let's start with the first problem. Let's say a boy has a problem with letters. Whatever child has a problem with letters. I'll speak very, very short about it. I'm very open if parents and anyone has a question, come to me afterwards to clarify things. And I'm even more, if you have a question later on, you can call me back to even more, hear more details about it. But for now, to keep it short, I just want to briefly go into a few tricks. Bring it to life. Bring it to life. Now we're talking about children who struggle with Aleph Beis, and not even struggle. You want to teach it to him. How can we teach him? Bring it to life. Let's say they learn sounds. Then it gets really fun. Child comes home, he understands the sounds, idea of sound. Everything that you give for supper has a sound. Look, the ketchup, the k, the base for banana, the ches for challah. Everything on the table he can connect with. Before they learn sound, and it's just an aleph, you can make your life by hanging it up, talking about it, give a lot of compliments about it. Wow, you learned it. Make a fuss out of it. The child should come home from school and feel, wow, I've learned something real. Not just, I learned the aleph. No one is excited about it. It doesn't mean anything. Why should I remember it? If a child comes home and the letters are alive, the parents look forward for this bracelet. You learned the gimel today. Wow, it's a simcha. The child will want to give over. And he'll come home, Mommy, I learned the gimel today. Otherwise, Mommy is not excited about it. Then the child doesn't feel the excitement. If needed, only teach sounds. That's really, really for strugglers. They can't chap the idea of let a name and then it converts to a sound. So for those children, just go to a sound. Teach them g, v, r. Like this, he doesn't have to make the double cheshbon. He just knows that's a b and finish. He doesn't have to think twice. You've got it all in your booklet. I'm just reading from here. Remind him the struggling letters. As we said before, don't expect him to know the base if he struggles with it before you start. Teach him. Look, that's a base. Let's find, we're going to start from the beginning. I want to see if you remember the base when we get there. Which means bring it alive before. Make him aware before he struggles, and don't wait till he's said it wrong and say, I called to you, it's a gimel. Wait. Warn him, and then go. The next thing is, make mistakes and ask the child to correct. That's the biggest fun for children. If the adult makes a mistake, that's the biggest yom tov. You start, the child comes home, and you say he's got a ches on his brace, and you tell him, wow, you learned the aleph today. No, it's a ches. So two things. First of all, you made them say the ches. Second one, Geshmak, I called you, I'm better than you. And you do the whole time. The more mistakes you do, the better. Again, as long as the child knows that you really know it. If you start making mistakes and the child never hears it right, starts to think, my parents learned it Aleph Beis. But as long as they see that you know it, the kids really, really enjoy it. So that's about the letters. Regarding the nekudas, look for a pattern. Many times children get mixed up, let's say, a segel, 3 dots, and a comma, which is also a T shape. 3 dots or a comma. If that's the pattern, it could be sight, it could be many other things. But then we can fix it. We've got what to work with. Maybe he doesn't look at details, and we can work on spot the difference. If it's just, he makes mistakes, people come to me, my son can't read. That's not an answer. What? Let's find. Maybe it's a call to the problem. If you know what the thing is, that's only the similar sounds, only this, and you can figure much more into something to work with. Remind him the struggling vowels. Again, remind him, don't wait him to struggle. Make mistakes, ask the child to correct him. Make pictures, remind him the sound. Many Aleph base, you can make a picture. Oi, let's say, is a ball that fell on the head of a person. Oi, it hurts him. You can give him like a bit of help, support with pictures. That will also help a lot for the children to remember the sounds. Ask a child to explain why he read it as he did. Okay, that's also we do that very often. A child, he read, let's say, Chola, he read Cholo. Why did you say Cho? He looks at him because there's an O underneath it. Why did you say Lo? Because there's an O. Oh no, it's Ah. He chaps himself, he said it wrong. He explains, and I said it wrong. So what is it? Chola. Ask him to explain why he read it that way. So again, we're not here to correct him. We ask him to explain, that's all. He himself will correct, that's okay. As long as we don't put him down. He understood by himself. So two things. First of all, you taught him how to think. You told him not that stamp. You made a mistake, you explained him. If you look there, you'll realize how you came to this result. And another thing is, he stays the same confident. You didn't put him down, you didn't correct him. Let's go to the next common problems. Connecting letter to vowels. Which we said before is one of the biggest concepts that children have to know. The ch suddenly makes cho, cha, chi, cho, che. How does that work? There's magic, suddenly changes. So there are also a few ways. Show him the letter and the vowel. So that's what we do very often. You take an aleph base over here, and an nekuda over here, and you say that's a ch, that's a o. Ch, o, ch, o. It goes near ch, o, ch, cho. So now he understands how it connects. It's not just magic. The ch is still here, the o is still here. It's just so near that it's ch in one go. And the more he understands the idea behind it, the more he understands the logic behind it, it'll click. Otherwise it'll stay magic for him, some random things. So show him how it works, and that's the only way we can do it on a slide. You've got a ches at the top and at the bottom, and as he goes there, he makes it. There are many ways to do it, but that's the only way to explain it to a child how, where he has to get and how to think. Changing nekudas, again, is also one of the very hard stages children go through. They know all the nekudas, but when it's all mixed up, I had one big children pot. They can't get over, they make mistakes. So, practice the page. So that's very, that's David Unger added this onto his Aleph Beis Sefer, and I feel it's a very powerful tool. Who said you have to change nekudas from O to A? Maybe you have to change from with nekuda to without nekuda. It's the same idea. Cho, bo, l, go, sho, b. Finished. It's the same idea. You're changing from A to B. So instead of giving her cholent, the whole thing in one go, stay with just commas, but with and without nekudas. This way is much easier for the child, and you're teaching him the same concept again of changing from yes to no. There's some way you have to look out. Don't just guess. You have to look out for a change, and then you'll understand it. Usually, this tool helps for most of the problems because it gives the child the idea. Look there, you'll see the answer. And eventually, they'll understand it. I wrote another thing, point out that he will only know when he's thinking. Again, you're helping him how to work. Think, and you'll get there. And the compliment should be the same. I saw you were thinking. You were looking at this place that made you think. The next thing is teach him how to think. Show him. There's a nekuda. Can you see? It's not the same nekuda. You have to change. And the more we show him, the more he'll be clear at it. And if needed, tell him to first say the vowels. That I do in emergencies. We go to the vowel first, which means a, ba, o, cho. So it forces him to think. The next thing is rules of Shavua. Again, has got a lot to do with clarity of splitting words into syllables. So teach the syllables how we should split it, teach the rules, and then start with Shavua. It's a pre-skill, otherwise there's no way to work Shavua. Fluency. I asked parents, whoever wants to send in a question can send in. Someone asked me how do you work on fluency. Now I have written on here, ask a professional. Fluency is one of the biggest issues that we have in Kriah, but it's the biggest risk. Because with fluency comes mistakes. It has a cost. The more quicker you read, the more mistakes you do. So, sorry? Both. If you push someone towards something, things that he's not sure at just go away. So we have to be very need a lot of balancing between accuracy and fluency. And I'm not talking about speed, which will be the next one, which is ask a professional to deal with it. Okay, I'm not going to speak about speed, because speed is the biggest risk. You can kill everything. Everything a child has. You teach him. But fluency, there are a few ways I'm going to give, but again, it needs a big, big, big balance. Read whole words, that's one of the things. Try to teach a boy not to read syllables. Read the whole word. Look at the word. When you know it, say the whole word. Don't say lam, na, ach. Look at it. When you're ready, say lam, na, ach. Mizmor, leDavid. That adds on a lot of fluency. The next thing is read until a comma in the Tillim or anywhere. Children usually read lam, na, ach, Mizmor, leDavid. Try to encourage them to read till a comma. A few words together. Okay? It's hard to get there, and sometimes it needs a lot of stages before, but that's the way to gain more fluency. Filter between easy and hard words. Again, many words and Tillim children know already, so we can help them and show them, look, Ashra you know, Ha'ish you know, Odom you know, Ki, Im, Al, and like this, make them aware. It's not so hard as you think, and you can go much faster that way. Don't be scared of going a bit faster. And okay. And then the next thing I wrote, go to a Kriah Momcha, ask a Momcha, because speed is something which is either we do it the proper way or everything is gone. Now the last thing, what will we gain in the long run? Now we had the whole evening. I gave you a lot of information. I hope you're not going to forget everything. I tried to make the Ikka points in the booklet. But if we do all that right, Be'ez Hashem, you'll see, he will enjoy learning. Children enjoy, who's successful in alle ways, can go to the next level of learning. He will feel supported by his parents. Children know they don't have to be scared to come home without knowing the letter. They know, okay, so at home, parents will help me. They know, there's help here. I don't have to give up. The next thing is establish relationship with your child. Again, some children hate when the parents are with them. And some children, it's like a bonding time. It's a nice time where you can have a nice kasha with your child. It's a chavrusa with your child, and can bring you nearer. And the last thing, and that's the most important thing, is he will be confident. Because as long as we support him, the child will be confident. And as I said before, children who are not confident, they start to have a negative feeling against it. And eventually they feel in the class, I'm a bit out. And they start hating to learn, they start hating to read. Then you send them to Kriah Mumcha, please help him. They come there burned out. And 3/4 of my job is just to boost confidence. Just to boost confidence. These kids are burned out. They're labeled. They know I can't anyway. I've tried so many years. Why should you be able to help me? And so on. There's no bigger damage than to just put a child down, finished, you can't, I just knock you down, you do hundreds of mistakes every day. As long as we keep him uplifted, you're good at what you do, you steig, you keep on, slow pace, but he's still on, you're improving every day. He'll have his confidence still with him, and when he comes to help, when he needs it, he'll come there with, I'll manage, Be'ez Hashem I'll manage. And it's so much quicker to work with confident boys than with boys who don't have confidence. Now, I want to finish off just with a few stories that I hear from boys. We should just have the idea, if we don't do these things, what comes out. I have a boy in Yitzchaim. As I said before, one nice story that I told you from here, that I told you the boy loves reading now. The boy goes now to davening. I have a boy in Yitzchaim who told me, Rebbe, today was the first time I had to read in Kitten, I wasn't ashamed. That was what the boys go through in Yitzchaim. They're 13, 14-year-olds, they never have to read in class, and they don't know how to read. Another boy says, I don't know, the Rebbe asks me to point. I just don't know where to start, I don't know where to look, which page. Most of the boys look for Vayidaba. I don't know where it says Vayidaba. I don't know where to look. Then the Rebbe says, solely help Chaim. And just embarrass me in front of everyone. Why do I need to help? I don't even know how to point. Children go through really, 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 really bad feelings. I had one boy who came to school only one day, the day I did Kriah with him. The rest, it just wasn't worth it. What did I gain? There's nothing. Gemara, I don't know. Chumash, I don't know. No one gives me what I need. Kriah, something is my level. That's what I'm looking for. He came to school once a week. There are so many stories I can give you of boys that go through feelings of when can someone help me and do it the right way. So Be'ez Hashem, I hope you all will see children who don't struggle. If they do struggle, do it the right way. And even if they don't struggle, the more positive koiches we're putting into it, Be'ez Hashem, you'll see better payers. Shkoyach. Whoever asked.
Apart from all the basics, is it good to keep down a class and then give all the input, or keep going up and putting in?
So it depends. If he knows all the klolim, the concepts.
No, struggle, different letters, struggle, different vowels. A practice might do it, or maybe not.
Yeah, you can't.
It's very hard. To keep down a class has a lot of other cheshbonis with it, social and that. I'm not talking about that. But let's go besides that. A boy that keeps up with more or less, he understands ideas, he just doesn't know information, a hey and a ches, that I can help him. But when he's blank, he doesn't know, what do you want from a hey and a ches? Like he doesn't know b'chalal. Okay, but we can still catch up, because the minute he'll chap, everything will go.
But even his class is learning Chumash and moving on, and he's still up to the basics, or keep him with the class of basics. I
usually try to balance it. Keep him with the class, and still go over the basic, but make sure he knows the concept. That the minute the basic is okay, it goes. He chaps in with all the concepts.
I'm already starting. I might also tell you that you wrote "bring it to live."
Oh.
You meant life.
Yeah,
and also,
you see, I've got spelling problems.
Yeah, it's all right. Pre-reading skills, knowledge of rules is not a pre-reading skill. So.
Yeah, I thought that.
Okay, you caught me.
You've got a lot of kids that you get at burnout stage. They come to you and they're burnt out. So if they have my own child, they don't want to. How do you start getting them back in? What do you do in your first lessons when a child is fed up? I can't read. I'm not good at reading.
Yeah.
Where do you start then?
So I'll give you just an example. I had a boy in Kesser Torah. He's a 13-year-old boy. 14.
Because I see here you're mentioning a lot. Is it mainly that?
I work a lot with Bochum. I work here in school. I run the whole school here, the whole Kriah department. So I work with from 3 to 16. Plus, I just never got higher than that. It's all the same idea. So I got a child to the Senko, referred him to me. He needs that. So he had a whole fight with the Senko. I don't need it. Okay, so he came to me, and he comes to me and says, I didn't agree. The Senko is a machine, and he just sends me. Listen, I don't know you. I just do my job. I did an assessment, and that's it. Okay, I start with an assessment, and he starts reading. Okay, so I realized what I've got to do with. I didn't say anything. Yeah, there's something to work with. Very, very good. I'm very happy. There's a bit of stress. We're working. Then I called up the Senko just to give him a report. She said, I agreed with that boy for 2 weeks. So let's push in as many lessons as we can in 2 weeks. So usually I learn once a week, so I agreed twice a week with that boy. So I took him, that was on Monday, I took him again on Thursday. Again on Thursday I started learning with him, if nothing, he's a good reader, blah, blah, blah. On Monday I had already enough kesher with him. I told him, now listen to yourself. I want to tell you a story. And he started laughing. I said, why are you laughing? I said, it sounds funny, right? So I made him aware, very, very, very sensitive, yeah? Not that I'm laughing at him, but that's what he sounds when he reads. Would you want me to laugh at you? Read the kapitel. I showed him his problem. The minute I showed him,
Did you do that when you're younger?
when with all the boys, you can be very open.
From what age? Mixes up she and C, and you want them to be aware of it?
Nah, she and C, I leave it for the end. With struggling boys, if it's only she and C, you can work. But if it's she and C, and all these things, I leave for right end, because I think these things are bumps.
Okay.
He's already struggling. Why do you put more bumps on the road?
You wouldn't make him away.
Wait, who cares? Have you ever heard a child that says, Baruch Asa Hashem? They get it right. They're getting it right in the end. It's a feeling. Of course, new words, they won't get right, but we've got enough time for that. Be'ez Hashem will get to a matzv of enjoying the reading, then I can say, let's push in. So that boy, last week's Thursday, so I learned with him since probably 16 lessons already. So last week's Thursday, he tells me, the Senko, every chavus he gives me is the wrong one. One chavus is the right one, you. As in, I don't take the compliment, as in, I'm not here to show off. I made him aware, he knows I'm working, I'm here to help him. He knows whatever I say is true. There's no compliment that is rubbish. And the kids enjoy it. Kids appreciate it. Build a relationship. Never give a critics the first few lessons. And once you feel, you get a certain thing, then you can start showing a bit. Very sensitive.
Compliment words that weren't
The more
read.
mistakes, the more compliments. That's the rule. The more mistakes, the more. Just make him feel comfortable.
In girls, speed is I'm saying how important it is. Obviously it's different when boys are learning Gemara all days. A girl, tell him to actually read slowly. Are we making it issue? Like it's not so important,
It's not so important, but it's important because speed gives you the understanding. If a pasuk takes you 2 minutes to read, you won't enjoy it, you won't understand it. But the very, very few mahalchim in Kriah, methods in general in schools who work on speed. There's one mahalach. No, they're just most of it. I take now for example Kriah Ne'imah. I'm with you in a second, yeah? Kriah Ne'imah, let's say, for an example, not to put him down, I'm just giving you. He's a very memorizing mahalach. What's his main shitta? Go over and over. Many schools in town use it. Go over and over. He never works on it. He does a program for fluency, but his biggest mahalach, what he's trying to do is accuracy and accuracy and accuracy. And I see for many of my daughters in Teferes, my daughter's in Kitta, in year 5. She still gets the rules sent home. And sometimes I feel the rules, she knows it, she had them for 5 years. You need a way of fluency. The rules won't help for fluency. So it needs a mahalach.
It's important for a girl.
It's for sure, I wouldn't say speed, I would say fluency. It's 2 big things. Fluency means it sounds, it's comfortable, it's nice to listen. It's a rhythm, it flows. Speed is ready. Leave that for the boys if you want. But the fluency, it should sound like reading, that's important.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
What about reading without nekudas? Once they...
Yeah. Okay, can I come back to you in a second? Because he's waiting. What? You're listening, okay. Reading without nekudas is...
If it's a struggle to read nekudas, meaning he knows all the rules properly, but it still comes with effort.
Right.
It still comes with effort, and when it's without nekudas, then it's
a non-starter with that, yeah. So, the answer is, reading without nekudas, there's no shortcut to it. Which means reading without nekudas is...
It's like guessing.
Yeah, it is. And I usually let's say like this. It comes usually by itself, when you can read fluent and you understand. Because as I said before, maybe you heard it, Shabbos, Shein Veisov, what does it mean? Shabbos. If afterwards we say Achim, it's Sheves Achim. If it says Vainofash, it's Shavas Vainofash. We change from the concept. But you first have to understand the concept. If you don't understand it, it's a non-starter. So, I have a boy who the parents came to me, he can't read without nekudas. I took him on just for an assessment, so I did 2 things with him. I referred him straight away to a Gemara Momcha, he's a Bar Mitzvah Momcha. So, because reading without nekudas means understanding. As I said before, you have to know what's the concept, where does it come in. But, there are some confidence tricks you can do. You can show him, I usually take a Tillim, then over here, I've got 4 levels in Tillim. The same 10 kapitlach, Aleph to Yud, it starts with nekudas, then without nekudas, then Rashi letters with nekudas, and Rashi without nekudas. And I do kapitel Aleph 4 times. I'll tell you, he knows it. He knows it. Then I go over to without nekudas, and Hashem, what was the problem? He says it. And he realizes, I only knew it because I knew it there. Which means there's no shortcut. If I know it, I know it here. And then I go over and I say, let's do the same Rashi. And suddenly it clicks, it's all the same thing. Yeah, the Shein that looks different design, fine, but it's more or less, then they pick up the idea that it's the same thing. But you can't help, it's not a shortcut for understanding, because then what I try to do is I go to capital B's, straight without nekudas. Start. Rubbish comes out. Why? I explain, because you've never seen it before. The only way to read without nekudas is look at it before, then you're going to know it without. So it's not a tool to help him, but it's a tool to give him the understanding. Don't be down. I can't read down because of course you can't. What do you expect? Like in Kapitel Aleph you knew it, and in Kapitel Beis you didn't know it. Same as in Gemara. First ask. Once you know it, you'll be able to read. It's just understanding. But there's no shortcut. There's no shortcut. It comes from understanding, 100%. So kids who struggle will have a hard. I know by boys they start straight to Gemara without the kudus. There's a big momch in America called Dr. Fried. He's a psychologist. He's got a lot in Kriah and especially Islam. Psychologist. He always says, why Dr. Fried? What's his first name? Don't remember his first name. He was by the convention in Amsterdam, the first convention. That's why I met him. I spoke with him about it, and he said, "It's so mean. We start Gemara, a new page, big, black and white, no nekudas, small. Start with nekudas. Who needs without nekudas? Which means he was very against it to do the jump to straight away without nekudas. There's no shortcut. My father learns with special needs boys in Switzerland. He had 2 talmidim. He didn't make it fast. Just buy a Gemara. Who cares? With nekudas, without. One boy did with, one without. One boy bought the Gemara with vowels, other one without vowels. At the end of the year, they finished the Perek, let's say in Tammuz. That's 3 weeks left. So for the boy who bought a special Gemara with vowels, it wasn't worth it for him for 3 weeks buying a new Gemara. So he just took his father's Gemara without vowels. He read it fluent. Because he had a whole year time to learn it, to get to know it, and so on. So that's what I need. There's no shortcut. Okay, if you have any questions?
That was really clear.
Shkech. Yes.
So on all of us, you read properly and read well. So
Yes.
you feel to read fast, feel they can't read fast enough.
Yeah.
I have from my younger children a Korean email from the club, they had this.
Right.
I suggested to him, he was glad to read the page a day. He never had this in primary school, he just learned to read and finish.
How old is he now?
15-year-old and a 12-year-old, both having the same thing, they don't read fast enough.
I would say they need professional help if you're so old. As in,
Struggling at all,
it's a lot to do with confidence, stretching yourself, showing you can do more. They don't believe. These boys are a lot of baggage. I can't, I won't be Masiach, and it needs a lot of opening back. And I say, half of my job is just confidence. And once they open, they try and they say, hey, it worked. That's where they
No,
it's verkehrt. Rabbi Yossi, do you have a second? It's not kedai. It's just puts them as an. It needs the push, not the basics. Okay? Hatzlacha.